Hey assholes, Pat Ryerke here, also known as the Patriarchy. So let's talk about transgender bathroom issues, because that's my favorite fucking thing in the world, is the trans bathroom issue, which I think was already settled on an episode of South Park, but that's beyond the point here. Alright guys, so New York Times has this really laughable article that is data collected to estimate how many transgender teenagers and adults there are in the United States, to see with this policy going through with Trump with the bathrooms, exactly that they want the data to be clear. They said they want the truth to be out there when they're pushing policy. These numbers are so inflated. They are inflated as fuck. They are more inflated than Hollywood's ego coming up on the Academy Awards on Sunday. Um, here's how they got the data. Let me just read this first paragraph to you, and then we'll point out the problem. Nearly 150,000 American teenagers from 13 to 17 years old, or 1 out of every 137, would identify as transgender if survey takers asked, according to an analysis of state and federal data that offers an answer to a question that has long eluded researchers. So if they ask you and you identify as transgender, that counts. There you go, you're transgender. Really. Let me give some anecdotal evidence on this. My friend's brother went to high school during the last few years here when this transgender thing picked up. He said in like 1 year, half of his high school started to identify as transgender. Like half the people in his high school. Now, the data does not support this at all. Being trans is a neurological disease. Yes, I will say it. It is gender dysmorphia. You have some kind of abnormality, a mental illness that makes you think you're a man or woman. It is very rare. It is very rare. It's not even. It's so rare. It's not even worth mentioning some of the time. It's such a rare actual thing, but we don't look at this. There's no real way to look and see if someone has a neurological issue with their trans things. But with this, if you just identify now, according to the left, you're a fucking man or woman. If the surveyors asked me, I would claim I was a fucking woman or trans just to fuck with them. This is that gender fluid bullshit that gender has is a social construct. There's no biological base. That nothing with evolution and roles between men and women are affected at all. Genders, sex and gender are different. What about the genderbread man? Man, fuck the genderbread man. I'll fuck the genderbread man up his genderbread ass. I'm sick of this crap. I've been very nice to the trans community when I covered Smugly Puff. I've been very nice through all my videos, but I'm sorry, I'm sick of you guys. If you look like a dude, go piss in the men's room. If you look like a chick, go piss in the chick's room. If nobody questions you, go ahead. You don't need a fucking law and protection to protect you. Why do you need protected to go take a shit in a stall? Or take a piss somewhere? I'm sorry if I don't sympathize with the fact you want to go use a fucking public restroom. I don't give a fuck. They could get rid of public restrooms that I wouldn't get a shit. Just put porta potties everywhere and let us shit in peace. Then we wouldn't have this over issue. And I'm sick of the Republicans talking about it. I'm sick of the conservatives who bitch about this, and I'm sick of the liberals who bitch about this. It's just bathrooms, and if people are just identifying, then that means anything. I guarantee you, if we actually take the real numbers of people that are actually trans, like that we could prove on some level have dysmorphia, it's probably not even it's not even half of that. There's such a low population, and you're like, oh, you don't care about a minority group? I do. But they're not a. I'm sorry, it's not a right for you to be a woman and then start using another bathroom. I'm sorry if I don't feel bad for you, you fucking weirdo. I'm tired of it. You guys can call me a bigot, a fucking phobe, transphobe, whatever the fuck you want. I'm a phobe to people who push their shit on me. I don't care. I don't fucking care. Nobody gives a fuck. If you look like a dude and you're going in a bathroom and women get worried, I'm sorry. I'm with the women on that. If women are uncomfortable with you being in the bathroom, or if the men in the bathroom are uncomfortable with you being in the bathroom, don't go in there. The figure stands to inform the fierce debate over the rights of transgender youth. Reignited on Wednesday by President Trump's decision to rescind an Obama administration policy that protected the rights of students to use bathrooms corresponding to their gender identity. They estimate may also help lawmakers and advocates across the country better understand the population they serve by inflating numbers that people could just say they identify. I mean, really, and they just estimate that there's like they just make up numbers. There's really no data. I looked at the studies and the data here. I was looking at it all fucking day before I made this video. It's nonsense. It's basically like just if a surveyor asks you if you're transgender and you say yes or no, and they don't factor in at all with the data if someone's lying or not. or somebody may not be. So what the fuck? Well, if it's just an option thing, then red, blue? Jesus Christ. People, take the red pill. We want to make sure that policy debates are informed by actual figures. Well, these aren't actual figures. And Jody L. Herman, a scholar of public policy at the Williams Institute at the UCLA School of Law, where she and several co-authors published the estimate in a report last month. That report, the latest in a series on transgender populations, included estimates of the transgender population in each state and in different age groups, in addition to an estimated 149,750 transgender teenagers nationwide, accounting for 0.7% of the population ages 13 to 7. Jesus Christ, that's not much. Dr. Herman and her co-authors estimated that there are 1.4 million transgender adults in the United States. They estimated that. They have no proof of this. They're estimating that off this people surveying identifying crap. In the younger age group, transgender identification is probably more common among the older teenagers than young ones, they said. The Williams Institute, well regarded for its research on lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender issues, was frequently cited during the same-sex marriage debate for its findings on the positive economic impact of allowing the practice. It has also published a widely accepted estimate on the national LGBT population 6 years ago. That's not the same thing. You being gay is not the same thing as you just saying you identify transgender. Not the same thing. In the January report, the researchers estimated that 22,200 teenagers in California, let's just say all of them are lying because it's California, 13,800 in Texas, and 9,750 in New York would identify as transgender if asked. Jesus, once again, I would just say that to fuck with them. North Dakota and Wyoming were home to the smallest populations of transgender teenagers, estimated at just 200 each. Well, fuck, I need to move to North Dakota. Proportionally, however, Hawaii and West Virginia took the lead, with about 1 in 100 teenagers from 13 to 17 estimated to be transgender. There's just all these transgender kids in Hawaii. The analysis. It's an analysis. Okay, let's see. Somebody has a quote. It's not about what your guts tell you. It's about what the news last night told you. It's not about what you think you might have gathered from looking at a couple of internet websites. Oh, said Kellen Baker, a senior fellow, I guess is what it is, at the Liberal Center for American Progress. I hate everything in there. The Liberal Center for American Progress. Ugh. Who specializes in LGBT and health issues. It's about what the data actually say, so that we can target resources where they will do the most good. Yeah, I'm sorry that you're being oppressed, that you can't go to a bathroom stall in the woman's room and take a shit or a piss. I'm sorry. I know it's very tough for you. We just don't have the same level of information readily accessible, said Sandy James, survey project manager for the National Center for Transgender Equality. The Williams Institute estimates are based on a large Centers for Disease Control and Prevention survey known as the Behavioral Risk Factor Surveillance System. In addition to a core set of questions asked nationally, the CDC allows states to choose from several optional questions to ask their residents. One such option selected by the half states in 2015 and slightly fewer in 2014, half the states, and fewer in 2014, inquired about transgender identity. More than 150,000 people answered the question each year. It's a very small sample size, actually. With that in hand, the researchers applied an advanced statistical technique regarded by some academics as an emerging gold standard for making state estimates using national data based on well-worn demographic and geographic patterns. So with the geographic patterns, they know if you're actually trans or not. Who knew? Science is amazing. The researchers extended the findings of the survey to all 50 states ever accounting for differences in race, age, education, income, and religion. The CDC surveys only adults, but the authors used trends among older age groups to estimate the number of teenagers who would identify as transgender if asked. Wait, so the authors used trends among older age groups to estimate the number of teenagers who would identify as transgender if asked. Jesus Christ, this is a crock of shit. There has been no authoritative, large-scale questioning of teenagers about transgender identity. While the CDC surveys children about gender identity, it only asks how they express gender in terms of masculinity and femininity, and the question is posted in a limited number of places. Dr. Herman said large national surveys are also typically slow to change in order to maintain consistent, comparable data over long periods of time, Herman said. So he just wants really good help for all the trans people. Well, you know what? Fuck this. You guys ignore biology, so you're not that scientific, I don't think. I just could bitch all day. I'm just so annoyed. I mean, I don't like that Trump's telling the press to fuck off, even though I hate CNN and I hate New York Times and I hate BuzzFeed. But god damn it, when you guys keep writing stuff like this, you're just trying to push the issue because you're pissed that Trump isn't giving you little bathroom privilege, you little snowflake cunts. Well, I'm sorry, you don't get everything handed to you because you're a fucking small population with a mental disorder that wants to get treated so special. What, do you want to be like retarded people? Where we give them like caretakers and they get extra money from the government and stuff? I mean, that's fine. If you want caretakers, you tranny people. Yeah, god damn, I'm sorry, I can't give a fuck. We gotta worry about the economy and Islam and all the shit going on in the world, and you care about what bathroom you use like it's some inconvenient fucking thing? Like, and why is this ever an issue? Why did this ever become an issue? Why is this a big deal? Why do we care how many transgenders there are in the country? So they can go mutilate themselves and then the suicide rates won't go down? A lot of them actually have mental illness. We never read about that a lot of trans people have other mental illnesses. They have several. They all suffer, a lot of them, from depression and all sorts of issues. That they don't talk about that. They're just like, oh, trans people are just like you and me. Not really. Not really. Because most people aren't that way. Most people aren't transgender. Most animals aren't transgender. It's an abnormality. You're not special. You're not interesting. You just want to be. And I don't know why. I have no fucking idea. I mean, Smugly identified as trans, then changed it once she went to court. So would Smugly be included in the survey? I had to tell you, I think all the trans stuff's just horseshit. I think a lot of people are just fucking saying it to be fucking cool. And it's taking away from people out there that actually have an issue that need help. So fuck you for claiming you're transgender, and fuck the New York Times for pushing this shit. I'm done with this. This is the Patriarchy. Like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, go fuck yourselves.